Hey y'all, this is Jeremy with Archeryshack. I've got an elite hunter here we're going to restring, and I'm going to walk you through it. Before we put it in the press, I'm going to take the draw stops off. Then we got a brand new stringing cable made for this thing. Get it tuned up, ready to go back home. We'll set this joker right there. Put that on there so we don't lose it. We're ready to press this joker. Slide our little fingers in. Beautiful. Let's see here. Now we're looking good. We're going to go ahead and cut the peep loose so we can reuse it. Get it off of there. There we go. Come on loose, peep. Take it out of there. We'll take the string and cables off. Take all this loose.
It don't move on that. It ain't never gonna move. Oh yeah.
Get our cable slide loose. Pull our string out of our cable. Now we're ready to start. We'll just give a good look to all the bushings. They look good. They look good. Nothing to worry about. Most modern cams, you don't have to put any sort of lubrication on. So that's a plus. Just making sure he didn't have any bushings that look bad or anything like that. We'll start with a cable. I'll hold these, make sure they don't untwist. We definitely won't need that. We'll take our first cable, hook it on here. Go up to the top cam, hook it on. Next cable.
Some cam systems don't. They just got a good linear pull. Yeah, I can hold it. Some of that. Still all the ones I got now. RX3, the RX3 Ultra.
Put that joker on there.
RX3 Turbo, the Double XL.
Up to the top.
The nitrous, every single one of them boats. You grab it and you pull it.
Click it on there. Got our cables ready. I'll go ahead and click them into the slide while we're waiting here. Then we'll go for our string.
Even that turbo was smooth too. See, a lot of people don't like spirals. Spirals they got a good draw cycle. It's holding a lot of weight.
There we go. What we'll do next, after we get this on, get his peep stuck back in there, make sure all this is on. We'll go over and put the draw stops on, and we will check the cam timing. Now we check these strings on 100 pounds before we put them on, so we know we're pretty close. But we want to make sure everything's perfect here. So we got our peep in. Ease off the string, make sure we're still in our tracks. Sometimes they'll sneak up and get you. We're looking good. tell you one more thing I can do, and that is put this rest cord back in while I'm standing here. Just go ahead and get as much done right here as we can. I'll separate the colors. Stick it in there. Alright, one less thing we got to do in a minute. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and put the draw stops back on.
They got that new cam. I don't know how it's going to draw the longer draw. I know at 29 and under.
And then we'll unscrew this back off.
That was one of them, Jack, that had down humps in the draw. Well, I know that. I pulled it back and it was like, you could see like flat spots on the cam. That new cam, might have been a magnet. That new setup they had.
Okay. Now the way I'm going to start doing this is, when I tighten it down, I'm going to put it at max let off, which is as far apart from each other, if that makes sense, as possible. And that's how I'm going to time the cams. Elite says even if their cams are not identical in shape, which some are, that if the draw stops are set the same, that should be how you time these bows. So that's what I've always done. When we go to these shows, we talk to some of these engineers and stuff, and you know, just ask random questions like that. So we're going to slide this back in there. Same thing on this end. We're going to put it at max let off. Max let off is, think of these two stops as being as far apart from each other as possible. And in reality, if we checked it, it'd probably be 85% let off or something like that. Okay, we got it snugged up. Let's go over to the vise and we will loop it, check the center shot. He left one of his arrows, then we'll check the timing, and then we'll paper tune it. Alright, so we got over here to the press. We're going to throw our levels on it just as a starting reference. And get everything level. Then we're going to put our loop on. I need to tie my little knots. Probably a silver if you got it over there. We'll get everything level. I'm going to tie my little inner loop knocks on so that we don't have any sort of knot pinch on the arrow. Getting everything nice and level here.
That will be silver.
Okay. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to go ahead and tie my knots on here. Put these little inner knocks. If he ever needs to change his loop or any of that, not a big deal. These will keep the same exact point. I usually wrap it a few times, and then I'll double it up on itself to give it a little bit of bulkiness. Okay, we'll tie that off, get it nice and snug, burn it. And then we'll do our bottom one. Tying our bottom one just the same as the top. And all this does is prevent knock pinch. I do it on most everything I do. Just, I don't like any sort of a preload to be on the arrow knock, pushing it up or down, causing weird tears through paper or arrow flight. This usually prevents all that. And then we'll snug that down. Burn the bottom one. Put us a tiny little dot of glue. Little dot of glue just on that knock I just tied. Hit it with some accelerator. Then we'll loop it. And we're going to put a silver loop on here to match it up good. Got a silver and black string. Once we loop it, we'll put it on the draw board. We'll set the rest, the cam timing, check the cam lean. On this particular bow, we don't have yoke, so if we had to change the lean, we would have to move shims around. Most of the time, we don't have to do that. Get this good and tight. Clip this off. And then we'll burn this. There we go. Let that dry for a minute. Cool down. One more thing we'll go ahead and do is I can get his old string and go ahead and line the loops up and get his peak tied in exactly where it was. Get his loop on here. Snug it up with our little needle nose there. Looks perfect. I'm gonna grab a string. Alright, so we're gonna line our peep up with where it was at. That way. It looks good right there. We'll tie this peep in. Okay. Here on this particular one, we're just going to use a basic serving type of a knot. We'll get it started. We'll slide it up. We'll wrap it about 10-12 times. Hold my tag out of the way. Get it snug. And then I'm going to back serve it about 10 wraps. And we'll get this snug down. Perfect. We're going to do the same thing on the top. And then we can get our peep back straight by twisting the string if we need to, and I'm probably sure we will. Let's wrap it a couple more times. slide it down so it matches. And then we'll back serve it our 8 or 10 times and get it to match our bottom one. I'm going to take my pliers and snug up these knots real good. Wrap it around, give it a good tug. I'm going to cut these off. Cut the bottom ones off, burn them. Oh, slide her down. And then just for added security, I'm going to tie in around the peep. Go around the peep a couple times, get it tied in just so we don't have any movement, anything like that. On this string, the guy wanted these Pine Ridge nitro buttons. When they're like a speed button, but they're made out of rubber, so they also take out some string twang, so we like them pretty good. Got that tied in. Now we're going to go check the timing. Alright, we're over here at the draw board. We got our draw stops at max let off. I'm just going to kind of get an idea of the poundage. We're right on 72, so that's perfect. It's a 70-pound bow, so. And then I'm going to see how our stops hit. Let's see here. Boom. It looks like, a good thing for us, they are dead on the money, believe it or not. So now we got so much let off. Alright, so our cam stop or our limb stops are hitting at the same time, so we don't have to twist any cables, which is a good thing. So now all I gotta do is get the rest timed correctly and shoot it through some paper and get the peak straight. So I'm gonna flip the rest up and watch it. See, alright, so we need, it's not grabbing. We're gonna slide our string down. Do it again. That's almost perfect. Just need a little more. Alright, now let's see. We wanted about 1.5 inches from the back wall coming up. And still just a little slow. That's her. Now we'll go tie this in. Alright, now we're just going to tie this rest cord in where it's at. Regular serving nut here, and then from there we got to get the peep back straight from where we tied it in and it twisted. What normally happens is you compress the twist of the string when you tie it in, and it makes it flip one way or another, so not a biggie. Not a biggie. Then we'll go paper tune it, and then we'll be done till the customer shows up, and then we'll start tuning it with him. Get this started here. Then I'll slide it down to the knot, or to the string. Perfect. We'll slide it right down to that string. It's coming up right where we need it to. I like these QAD rests to come up about 1.5 inches before it hits the stop, and it usually tunes pretty good. Finish tying this in. Sorry for our mess. We got stuff everywhere as usual. It's hard to keep an archery shop work table clean, as you can tell, but it's okay. Snug this down, perfect. Burn that. Okay, we're gonna go get our peep straight. Alright, we got her back in the press. We're gonna give this string just a tiny twist to get the peep back straight. What happens is, of course the string's twisted. When you compress the twist, when you tie in a peep, it'll make it flip around. Pretty much anything you do to manipulate the string is gonna make this peep move around. So we are going to get it back straight just like that. We'll take a little bit of tension off and I'm going to flip my loop around. Now we did not dig this loop into the serving like I've seen some people do because we want to be able to move it. Peep straight. Let's go back and paper tune it. Alright, so we're back here in the hallway. We got the string on, we got the cams timed, everything's level the way it sits. We're going to shoot it through paper, see if it bullet holes or if we got to make any little small adjustments, and then go from there. So here's our first shot out of it. Boom. Perfect bullet hole, no adjustments needed. So from here we'll just wait on the customer to pick it up, and then we'll have him do the same thing to make sure it does the same thing for him, which it should. And then he's ready to go shoot. So thank y'all for watching. If you need a bow tuned and you're local, we're the Archeryshack in Anderson, South Carolina, upstate South Carolina. If you're not local, we take bows shipped in. Just give us a call at 864-735-8484. We'll be happy to do whatever you need. A lot of people don't have local shops, so we can do anything possible to help you. So give us a call. Check us out, www.archeryshack.com, and thank you for watching. Have a good day.